Hi guys, this is going to be Frankie's first ever winter outdoor enclosure. And before I get started, I do want to update you guys on Frankie's gender. He is actually a she. So yeah, she's a female. I'm happy about it. And this is her first winter enclosure. As many of you know, she is usually indoors during the winter, but she's getting pretty big. So this year, I decided to get this little shed. It's a plastic shed, 5x7. I'm going to insulate it. I did get it off of Facebook Marketplace. You guys know I get all of my enclosures secondhand, Craigslist, Facebook, OfferUp. It doesn't matter. I can get it. I'll find it. If I see something that I want, I literally wanted this exact setup and I found it. It took 2 weeks, but I found it and it's in pretty good condition. So anyways, let's get started. Quick update. I was going to leave like a 4-inch gap for the substrate, but then I just now decided that's a dumb idea. So I yanked everything off and flushed it to the floor. The insulation is all done. For now, I'm not going to do the doors because it's not that cold yet. So let's start with the substrate. I'm going to do the usual mix of 50-50 play sand and topsoil, and then we can start decorating. I didn't mention this, but of course, obviously it comes with a roof and the other door, but to make it easy on myself, I decided to install those at the end. Well, my husband will when he gets home from work. Wasn't planning on putting this little table hide back, but it is like her comfort hide, so I'm just gonna put it back in. This is what we have so far. I kept the decor simple. It's basically what she had in her summer enclosure. But this shed is going to be ready for those cold winter days and nights. When my husband gets home, we will put on the roof and the lighting. For now, I am going to go get her and put her in here, and I'll put the door on as well so she's safe. I'm also going to start soaking the moss so I can add it to one of the hides. She was going into her hide, but as soon as she heard the little crunch of the grocery bags, she stopped and looked back to see if I was bringing a snack, which I am. Now it is time for the most important part, which is the lighting. I am trying to figure out the best way to do this. So I have all my supplies and resources out. For the nighttime, we do have the ceramic heat emitters. It is important to provide your reptiles with a night and day cycle. So please do not use those red or blue lights that you see at the reptile store. They can actually stress your reptiles out. For the UVB, I have this, I think it's probably like 2 feet UVB light, and I have a brand new bulb here. It is a little on the smaller side, but for now this will do until I get at least maybe like a 4-footer or even a 5-footer. The only reason why I'm okay with this is because the bulbs that I do get for the heat have UVB as well. So I'll put the long strip lighting on one side and then the heating on the other side. So the whole enclosure will be covered with the UVB rays and lighting. Something I want to mention in case you are new to reptile keeping is the reason why I have all these supplies out is because you need to make sure the bulb and the light fixture are compatible. Like, for example, it should say it somewhere on the side or inside. This one is max 120 volts and 100 watts. So you got to make sure the light bulb is compatible, and this one is. It is 120 volts and 100 watts. Also, very important is to have a thermometer in the enclosure so you can keep track of the heat and humidity. Another important thing before we move on is the UVB. You do want to have the one that's UVB 10. There are smaller numbers depending on your reptile. It might change, it might vary. You want to look into that. But for tortoises, for the most part, you're going to want the 10. My husband installed all the light fixtures, all the ceramic bulbs and everything, and it was just not getting warmed up enough. I was stressing out trying to figure out what I was going to do. I was going to buy a heat panel, but then I remembered that Marshmallow has one in his enclosure, and I'm just going to use that for Frankie. And I left him with some heating pads. He is a ball python, so heat pads work just perfectly fine for him. And once I was done with all that, I got to work and I got these chains. I need to hang this heat panel. I measured everything out. I needed it to be pretty close to the ground, obviously enough to where Frankie can still walk underneath it. But I wanted Frankie to just, not be cold and I want her to be warm. So yeah, I'm just gonna stop talking. Everything is pretty self-explanatory. But if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. I did end up buying a 40-inch light fixture for the UVB bulb. If you're trying to get into the reptile hobby, it is expensive. This fixture was $82.99, and then I had to get the correct UVB bulb, which was another almost $40. So just a little FYI, this is not cheap. Here I am just kind of making sure that it works before I go out there and install it and do all of this hard work. And it works, so I'm very happy about that. And this is it. She's not the cutest thing from the outside. We did add that tarp just for an extra layer of protection so the rain doesn't go in there, since there is a bunch of electrical wires and all that good stuff. We want to make sure it's safe. And then I just have this little screw to make sure Frankie doesn't open the door. And this is it, guys. It took a while to get here. Full transparency. Frankie was living in my master bedroom for like 2 months. She had a heater. She was fine. But, you know, I'm sure she missed being outdoors, feeling in the dirt. I missed having my bathroom. So I'm just so happy that she has this beautiful enclosure. It's so cozy in here. And I'm so proud about the fact that I was able to get the temperature's correct. You'll see in a minute. It just worked out so well. And the heat panel was the best idea because those lamps were just not it. It was just not hot enough. Like, of course, right underneath them it was hot, but then the rest of the enclosure was cold. So it just wasn't it. And I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy this worked out because this is the biggest enclosure she could have gotten. I would not be able to get something like this indoors. So she has enough room, and you can see here the temperature's fine. This is right in her basking area. It ranges anywhere from like 90 to 100 degrees. The heat panel does stay on 24/7. The UVB stays on for 12 hours, and that other heat lamp stays on for 12 hours. Unless it's really cold, then I think I might just leave that on some nights if I feel like I need it. But yeah, I just keep on, I go in there multiple times a day, make sure everything's good, just play everything by ear. Of course, the further away from the heat panel it gets colder. It doesn't go below like 67, 68 degrees. In the other hide, it is like 75, 76 degrees. Underneath the heat panel, it is 90 degrees. So she has a lot of areas where she can just chill and be warm. That's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to drink your water. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.